Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Trends and Trendy. This is Ami, our chat room, and today we'll be having a very interesting discussion. It's centered on the life and thoughts and challenges of those living in diaspora. I'm talking about Africans, or let me say Ghanaians in the diaspora. So we'll be having a very interesting discussion today, and my panel members will be joining me very soon. Already I have, we call him NY, and he is in the United States. So actually, I will let him do his own introduction very soon. So NY, let me allow you to do your introduction.
NY stands for Nanaya Ogzwamponsa.
Okay.
I'm a graduate student at the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Okay. So you are based in the United States right now?
Correct.
I am in Ghana here, and we know that a lot of people want to travel outside Ghana, or let me say travel outside Africa to actually live their lives abroad. And they all have their own reasons for going there. But most times we also look at the fact that we want to maintain people in our land, or let's say maintain people in our country. So we want to understand why they will go outside when we want to also develop ours. May I ask, what actually informed your decision to leave Ghana to the United States?
Well, first of all, what I'm doing here is education. So what prompted my decision? I wanted to further my education in an area that was not really common back then. I did my master's in geographic information systems or geographic information science. I know some universities offer it in Ghana as maybe a class. I'm not sure if it's a course by itself as a master's program. And currently I'm doing a PhD in Earth System Science and Policy. So most reason why some people move out like myself is to find a program that is not readily available back home. And even as a requirement in most interviews for the visas, they will let you know that if a certain program is offered in your country, you're not likely to get a visa to travel. So that's how these things happen, finding programs that are not readily available in your country.
But you think that some people like you actually do the same thing, or they just move out of Ghana because they feel that Ghana is not the best country to live in?
I mean, there are many reasons why people travel. People have their personal motivations, family expectations, societal expectations. Oh, you are brilliant. You should travel outside and study. You know, like I know those who pursue the national science and maths degree. Sometimes people expect them to do those things. Like, oh, you had 8 A's. You think you're brilliant. You can do well in an Ivy League university. So that's where the societal expectations also come in. So people have different motivations for traveling. Of course, if it's through education, that's what I mentioned, but for other reasons, to seek greener pastures, and also, you know, maybe they have family here or friends here who are also pulling them to come and join them. And if the economy is not working for some people, they would prefer to find greener pastures elsewhere. You know, we often hear that some jobs here are not regarded as prestigious, but they still pay. And that's what it does. There are some jobs that are not regarded in our society as they are not the doctors or the lawyers, but they kind of pay. Even some who get more pay here than people who are doing some kind of jobs back home. So people have different motivations. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So how is life out there? Is it the same as being home?
Certainly not. Certainly not. So, first of all, you get 4 different kind of weathers. Depending on which part of the US you are in. I am way up north, very close to the Canadian border. So we feel the impact of winter very bad. Just a few months of spring, a few months of summer, a few months of fall. Winter is like almost 6 months of the whole year. So the weather is definitely not the same. The food can be a bit tricky. If you want fufu, you can only get neat fufu to eat. Well, they've tried a lot in getting like certain kind of ingredients here. So, you know, you can eat katin kwang or ben kwang that tastes just almost the same as back home, but the fufu wouldn't be the same. So food-wise, people are trying to import stuff here, but it's still not the same. Socially, definitely not the same. What we are used to back home is not. People have different lifestyles here. Now, people keep more to themselves in this country. I know I know in Accra, it's beginning to look like that sometimes, where people are like more to themselves, but still people have a lot of friends, back home, and they hang out a lot. That is not too common here. You can live in an apartment and your next door neighbor is somebody you've not even talked to the whole year. So socially, it's not the same. And of course, they have different cultures. And we all hear about sometimes these shootings here and there, that's random shootings that can happen to anybody. You don't often hear those things in Ghana. I mean, of course, Ghana, we have armed robbery that going on, but not like somebody just deciding to kill people just for the fun of it.
So would you say that your freedom there is a little bit curtailed, I mean, when compared to living in your own country or your home country?
When they say freedom,
okay,
maybe mentally you might look over your shoulders a little bit, depending on which area you get into. But I as I'm sitting here, I don't have any problem with anybody coming to my house, or nobody would come and worry me or anything. But of course, home is home. You wouldn't, like, whenever we hear these mass shootings on TV or on the internet, it kind of dawns on you a bit. Are you safe? Because it's like a random, and those places that it happens, like a grocery store, any of us could have been there. So when you hear those, they kind of put things into perspective a bit. So like slightly, you might feel less of freedom, but freedom in itself, like you're free to move out, you're free to do whatever you want. Yes, it's here. You can do whatever you want. Of course, depending on which level of permission you've been given based on immigration. If you're a citizen, you're free to do certain kind of things. Like if you can't work for the government, if you're not a citizen, those things are just, things they have here. But and of course, there are Ghanaians here who are citizens, so they can do the kind of job. So there's no restriction just based on me being a Ghanaian or me being like as a person. But there are different levels of things you can work for, different level of place you can work for and not. But freedom in general, yeah, I can work out, I can do whatever I want.
You get the same respect from the people. I mean, let me put it in a better perspective. There we have the white people, we have the black people, and we as Africans, moving from our African continent to settle in those countries or in their country. So do you think the level of respect that we would have accorded to you is the same measure that you get from people outside?
It always depends. For me, I get the respect that I need from my school. As a grad student, when I go to the department, talk to my head of department, I give presentations, I get the kind of respect that I deserve for what I do. Now, in society, we have people who don't regard Black people as equals to them. And those people are there. Because there are people who are open-minded and don't care about which color you are. So yes, you have all kinds of people who would disrespect you just because you don't look like them, or people who would think that you should go back to your country, which I sometimes don't get, because America is a country, everybody came here from somewhere, But I think generally, as you've seen in the news and all that, there's a lot of color biased or race biased things that go on here. I think Africans are doing quite well. If you check certain statistics, like when it comes to education, Africans are being more educated even than the African Americans here. Even not even compared to African Americans, it's general, like the race or the kind of ethnic group that is, pursuing things. I think Africans come here with a plan, to do certain things, and our way of life back home, our parents tell you, go to school. So they still do the same thing here. Like African parents will always tell you, you have to be a good student. So like Africans to me here are putting their weight when it comes to school. They focus more on that. Of course, they will get all sort of treatments from other people. Like I'm sure kids are being bullied sometimes in school and all that. But when they get back home, they still tell them go to school and push them to do their academia part. So yeah, I agree. Their respect sometimes is not the same as we will get back home. Home is home. But I think Africans are doing quite well here.
Okay. Let me just share my experience with you because I also went to Germany and then I stayed there for a year.
Yeah.
The same reason. I mean, actually went there to school. Okay, so let me just say that when I went there, the feeling was different as compared to living here in my home country. I say it this way because when I check the infrastructure, when I check the way the country is, when I check the way people behave there is quite different from ours. And you would think that they have gone ahead in terms of how they behave and in terms of the things they know, the knowledge that they have acquired. Even the ordinary citizen, the one that you might think has not gone to school enough. Because we Africans, we cherish education. We want higher education. But even with the one that you think has not really attained the higher education, knows something that will blow your mind. So I think when you get there, if you don't take care, you stay. Not because you want to stay, but you want to be there because you think that the environment accommodates, something different that you would like to associate with. So my life in Germany, I had a great challenge. In fact, the greatest challenge of my life in Germany was, returning back home because you get people who encourage you to stay. You get people who even think you are mad coming back home. You understand? Or you get people who might think that you are pursued by, we believe in these, spirits and all that. Yeah. So, I mean, it's totally different. So I think that when you are out there and you compare it to, your country and the way things are done in your country, I think we wouldn't have to blame a lot of people going out of this country because I'm saying this because human capital is something that is very, very important to the development of every nation. And
Correct.
if we have our doctors, our best people leaving the country, those who have pursued higher education, staying outside and not coming to add up to what we have here, or let's say coming to introduce their knowledge here in order to develop the nation, then we probably will be lagging behind all the time. But let me put it this way, would you blame those who choose to stay outside, even though they have acquired the knowledge and they can come and apply it in their home country to, better their home country, but they would choose to be there? And in fact, some of these people are even living there and they are doing quite a job that you might think that, this job is very mediocre. Like you don't have to do it. Pay your status, pay your degree, or pay what you have achieved. You don't have to do it. Stay there and do it. Because, Germany, for instance, we don't know their language. If you cannot speak their language very well, it's very difficult for you to find a very good job to do. So you might even complete school and still be, doing those cleaning jobs and all these jobs. Not to say that a cleaning job is, not good, but just because of your status, you probably might think that this is not the kind of job, or because of your knowledge, probably if I have been trained to become a journalist and I'm a cleaner, it's different. It's a different field for me. You understand? So
Yeah.
do you think, would you blame those who choose to stay there, or do you think that those who choose to stay outside and not come back home, what's your take on it?
First of all, I would say that just to touch on a few things that you said, human beings are not different everywhere. I think human beings are pretty much the same wherever you go. The reason I'm saying this is that, when the issue of George Floyd came in and people were looting and, stealing stuff, we also saw all kinds of people doing it. I saw videos of Black people, white people, Asians, Latinos. To me, it's a system. If the system is good enough, people would toe the line. When the system was broken in that short time, all kinds of people did it. So it wasn't just Black people or white people or Africans or whatever. Now, to come back to the exact question that you said, people leaving the country and staying, like there are many reasons why people stay. First of all, are opportunities. Like somebody does a degree in chemistry or a degree in physics or a degree in computational mathematics, and he finishes school and he goes like, oh, Amazon wants me to be the director of something. That is opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's going to be paid in 6 figures, and that is over $100,000. That's opportunity a person has gotten. And I think that if somebody gets the opportunity and decides to pursue it, I won't force the person for pursuing that opportunity, because that's all we all want. We all want a certain kind of opportunity. And these companies find, even as much as the American companies are still global, so they have reach everywhere in the world. So the person is now at the global stage. So people choose to stay based on opportunities given them. So if they find these things here, why not? I won't force somebody for taking it. Now, a lot of people, I know so many grad students or so many people who have pursued higher education here, medical doctors, whatever. And sometimes they say they go back home to try to do something and they are not well received. Either the people there do not receive them well, or the system there doesn't accommodate them properly. So in that case, if people are willing to go back, but they don't feel, or they have a lot of roadblocks that are preventing them from, giving back to society back home, it's very frustrating sometimes. And just imagine the person already has a job. Let me give you an example. Some doctors have jobs here in hospitals, and they sometimes take some summer break to go back home and help sometimes. And when they go and they get such roadblocks, and it prevents them, and that means they have to probably stay longer to get certain things done. But they still have jobs here they have to do. So some of them will just pack back and come back because they didn't have the time to achieve what they wanted to achieve. And they may not go back because sometimes it wouldn't change. Whatever prevented them from doing what they are doing hasn't changed. So I always say this. I like Nanado's year of return idea.
Okay.
It was a good thing for the country. It didn't just reach out to the
Ghanaians outside.
The Ghanaians. It reached out to other African Americans who identify themselves, as Africa as the motherland and everything. And I think sometimes that was the target, but it also reached out to Ghanaians who also live here, who want to come back and do something, So I think the idea was good, but it should transcend to every aspect of things. That should be drawn into every area of our economy where these people can come and help. Of course, they shouldn't be seen as superheroes or the saviors, because sometimes that idea of, oh, I've come back from abroad, I'm come to be the savior of the day, that attitude can also piss people off, or it can make people resist you. But it's also we should be able to find a way of gelling these two ideas. We are from outside, we are from home. How can we make it better? That is, if the system works like that, I think it will be good, and things will be much better than they are, and we'll have more people coming back home. Because I think that's one of the main reasons why people don't come back home, because they think there's so much resistance, there's so much roadblocks that they cannot get over to, when they want to come back and help.
And I think also that some people also living abroad have a certain mentality about those staying here. When I say staying here, I mean Ghana. So, for instance, let me still use my experience. I went to Germany, and when I was speaking with some of my people there, Ghanaians there, they will tell you about how the economy is so broken, how people are so corrupt here, how Ghana is never gonna develop, or is actually not anywhere near development. And they will tell you the mindset of the white people, or let's say not white as in not using it in that perspective, but just to make the difference between what we are discussing. So they will tell you that these people have been able to develop their country from ground up to the floor. To the roof. They've been able to do everything by themselves, and they actually have developed their country. But we are still struggling and all that. So their mindset is different. It's like if I have to put in the best perspective, it's like they feel that we are inferior in some way. They feel that we don't know it. We cannot do it. And that it is best if you've gotten the opportunity to come and stay abroad And even if it is, somebody will say, even if you are to clean the toilet, do it and stay. But to go back home, probably you might be you might have a very good job doing back home. But why would you go back home? If you if you understand this, why would you go back home? So we have that mentality. And I don't know, if that's the kind of mentality that you have also, witnessed there. And why do you think we have that thought processes that have, actually engineered our way of living?
I think, like I said, earlier.
But let me just cut you, and then sorry for cutting you.
That's okay.
We have Kwame Uswansa joining us, and I'll allow Kwame Uswansa to actually do his own introduction of himself. So Kwame, you're welcome.
Thank you, Amir. What's up, brother? Yo, yeah. Weezy, what's up?
For my audience, you just say Weezy, they will not understand it. So NY is also nicknamed Weezy. So let me just say that we are a fraternity. It's like we are friends. So we are just having a friendly discussion. All right. Yeah. So NY, sorry, Kwame Uswansa.
You mentioned my name. What do? I do a lot of things, so I don't even know which one to say. Well, I'm currently general manager for a digital agency called Verge Digital. I run 2 tech startups, MonaDrive, which is a cloud storage and file transfer platform, supposed to be sponsored. It's in beta, so it's currently being tested by a couple of people. It will launch very soon, so people should watch out for it. And I'm also co-founder of another tech startup called TechStripped, which is supposed to be a tech leadership advocacy network, which is based on here. Using what we're doing is raising tech leaders, raising the next generation of tech leaders, starting from the university campuses. So basically, that's what I do for now. I'm also a Mandela Washington Fellow for 2021, if I can add that to it.
All right. So yeah, you've got the portfolio. I think I'm a journalist. I don't have any other. Let them just say I've not attained degree, master's, PhD in 4 months. No.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. So Kwame, before you joined us, we were actually discussing the the interesting life thoughts and challenges of those living in the diaspora, or let me say, Africans or Ghanaians in the diaspora. So I think you're already familiar with the topic, and we have been discussing, the life and all that. NY has been telling us how he got there and why he's there and all that. So before you did the introduction, I was sharing an experience. I have been in Germany, and I went through certain, I encountered certain people and what they told me and all that. So that was what I was talking about. The fact that when you are abroad and you are coming back, people think that you are pursued by an evil spirit. They think either you are crazy, you are pursued by an evil spirit, or you're going to fail back in your home. In your home country, because they think that living abroad is the best thing to do, not going back home. So, NY, back to what I was saying. I think you can now.
Yeah, I think that when people is the only difference, like I said, with back home and here is a system. That's the only difference that I have seen. The human beings are pretty much the same. Like the example I gave was when the looting happened, everybody was doing it. The whites, the black, the Asians, the Latinos, everybody was doing it. So it's not an African thing, or it's not a behavior to steal from Africa. No. I think that when the opportunity is there, the human being will steal. The human being is the same everywhere. But what makes the difference, like I said, is the system to be able to resist those things, to be able to so at that time the system was broken when those things were happening. That system that would keep things safe, the system that would keep things orderly, was gone. So if we are able to focus on building a particular system for ourselves, it doesn't have to mimic the same thing as the Europeans or the Americans, but find a system that works for us as Africans, as Ghanaians, that will still keep order, that will still keep honesty, integrity, corruption low, and everything. Why should why should it not work? Because that's the reason why they say, oh, don't go back because the economy is bad. The economy is bad because we don't have a particular system that makes the economy good. So if we're able to find our own systems that would help us, that would increase productivity, that would do whatever, we need as a country, those comments will not be there.
All right. We have Emmanuel Sawyer joining us right now. And then we also have our brother Eben also joining us. I'll allow them to do their own introduction. So we start with Emmanuel Sawyer. You introduce yourself.
I came to pursue my PhD. I'm almost done with it. I'm just left with defending my thesis. And I'm working as a lecturer at the moment at the University of Westminster.
Okay. Then Eben.
My name is Ebenezer Oseyenki. I'm currently in China, studying clinical medicine at Rural Medical University.
All right. I think we did hear something, right? Okay, so that's Eben, and he's in China, and he's pursuing what? Medicine, right? Is it medicine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So before you guys joined us, we had already started with the discussion, and it's centered on the life and challenges and thoughts of those in the diaspora, Ghanaians, Africans in the diaspora. And I've been speaking with NY, and we have been talking about the lifestyles, or let's say the way of living outside there, and the perceptions that people have concerning, people who come from Africa to stay abroad, and those who also stay abroad and want to go back to Africa. And I was sharing with NY my experience of, someone telling me, or let's say people telling me that it's not the best thing to do. Actually, if you are, because I live in Germany, so it's not the best thing for you to return back home, but rather you have to stay in Germany. And even if it is, even if the job that you have is not worth it, just in inverted commas, you still need to stay and do it because there is nothing really interesting or nothing really good for you to, do back home. So that was what we were talking about. And I will allow Kwame, since he came a layer before, our two most handsome guys, I'll allow Kwame to, actually also share with us what he thinks about Africans in the diaspora and why do you think people would leave Ghana? Let us stay with Ghana. So why do you think people leave Ghana to stay abroad?
I think, first of all, thank you, Amiel, for the opportunity to be a part of this conversation. But the first thing I would say why people leave the shores of this country and go and decide not to come back is comfort. Basically, that's what it is. It's comfort. But you see, comfort is also a mental thing, right? So, for instance, you would leave Ghana and go to, let's say, the UK or the US or Germany or China or anywhere, to go and either go work or go study, or go and do a business or whatever reason for which you went there. Then you go, and most of the times people go, and the main reason why they go there is done, right? But they decide not to come back because they get used to a certain kind of life. They get used to a certain kind of comfort in the space they find themselves, that they compare what they have with what they were in before they moved to the diaspora. And they feel it's not worth coming back now. Like, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who has been living in the States. We were in tech together, and he got the opportunity to travel, doing an exchange program. And when he went there, he applied for a school. We were in second year in tech. He applied for a school. He got in. So he came down to Tech, KNUST, and he came to transfer his courses from Tech to that school because it was almost the same course, right? And so instead of going to second year, he had to going to third year, he had to start from second year. So he missed like a whole year. He had to repeat, and he didn't mind doing that, right? And I asked him why he wouldn't want to come back, or why he would want to come back. He said it's easier living in the States even when you don't have money than living in Ghana when you don't have money. Like when you are here and you don't have money, the system will rub it in your face that you don't have money.
Yeah, you feel it.
I came to you why talking about the systems and stuff like that. That's what it is. It's the systems that has been put in place in America is such that when you, even if you don't have money, there are support systems available for you to enable you
really? Is it true?
To live a certain kind of, so a friend of my cousin, I'll call him my cousin because we lived together for a long time. He left Ghana and went to the States. He is Black American, right? But when he came, he had lived in Ghana for over 10 years. So he had literally naturalized to be a Ghanaian. When he went back over there, he didn't have a job. He was now going to fix his social security and everything. But because he was American and he had his papers intact, right? He's American. So I understood the system had a certain allocated amount of money for him, that even when he doesn't have a job, he's able to live on that stipend. He can get money to go shopping, he can get money to buy groceries and stuff like that. So even with that, he didn't have a job, but he was okay. He didn't, if he was a lazy ass person who didn't want to do anything and he wanted to just live on the government's stipends that are coming in, he could have decided to just stay in the house and not do anything. Wheezy, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. So the guy, but he had an ambition, right? So he wasn't okay going to live on scraps because he knew there was more money to be made. And now he's literally a rich man. He's investing in real estate. He's in the US Army now. The guy has so much money now. I can't even, like, he's literally somebody who was depending on me when he was in Ghana, but now he's way richer than me. He calls me his boy now. You know, it's funny like that. But the point I'm trying to make is people leave to go outside and live and not come back for comfort's sake. Once they get used to a certain comfort, they may not want to come back. But the other part of this whole thing is, I think people need to, okay, I am somebody who is more purpose driven than comfort driven, because I believe I will find comfort in my purpose, right? So even if I want to leave Ghana and go to Abuja, I wouldn't want to leave Ghana and go to Abuja and go and stay there or go and hustle and stuff like that, because I've had a lot of opportunities of people, Kwame, you are so handy, you are so good with this. If you were here, you'd be making so much money. Why are you living in Ghana struggling to do this, blah, blah, blah. And I told them, like, one Black American lady, I told her that there are 3 things that would make me travel out of Ghana. Number 1 is to go to school. Number 2 is that there's work that is sending me there to go and do, and I'm going to come back. And number 3 is to go on vacation. I don't plan on leaving Ghana to go to Abuja and go and do a hustler's job. See, maybe I'm a guy, but I see myself beyond that. And I don't think money is everything. Purpose is the main thing for me. So if I find my purpose in going to Abuja, and that I know I am in the will of God doing that, and my purpose is being fulfilled, hallelujah. But I think I have found my purpose, and I know it can be done anywhere, whether I'm in Ghana or I am in Abuja. So I won't stress my head going to go and hustle, to make a living.
Why people leave Ghana to go to Abuja? Well, it depends. There are several reasons why people do it. Like Kwame said, comfort. What I have observed is that, and I for one, I'm particularly a fan of people coming overseas to come and study. If you manage to get a scholarship, and I usually would prefer that the means to that is through a scholarship. I think that if you're able to do that, that is excellent, because it would open your perspective about different kinds of situations. And when we are arguing the Ghanaian case, like Emma was saying, you'd realize that the human beings are the same. There are a lot of times I say that some of the people with the strongest opinions about living abroad are people who have never been abroad. And it's because their perceptions of abroad is from movies. Okay, so I for one, I'm a big fan of people traveling for education, because I think that one of the ways by which we can solve our problems as Africans is to stop blaming it on our identity and start identifying the actual problems and fixing the problems. We are the only group of people who, instead of finding solutions to our problems, we blame it on our identity. But if you go anywhere, you realize that human beings are human beings. If they get a chance, they will do it. It's just a matter of, okay, this is the problem, let us fix it. So people come overseas for different kinds of situations. So what I've realized is that, like from what Kwame was saying, people who have been in the corporate field in Ghana are not as enthused when they come overseas. They are not as overwhelmed, or like, as I said, what I was saying was that those who have been in the corporate field are not particularly overwhelmed by the sense of living outside, because you have this sense of some respect for yourself, and you value yourself better than the average person who may have left school, or may have not been as educated or have been opportune as us to be able to do the things that we are doing. So when they come here, they don't usually see themselves as inferior, and they are less willing to do, in quotes, the more inferior jobs. Right. But those who never worked in Ghana before, even if they finish university, are more willing to hustle, if you may, okay, and to do jobs that are below their qualification. Okay, so that is one other thing that I found out. In terms of not being able to live comfortably in Ghana, I find it interesting, because a lot of times the conversations that we have here, when anybody, whether they have been living here from their childhood or they are Ghanaians who have come here, the one thing that we always say is Ghana is nice to be in Ghana. The problem is whether you have the cash. If you have the money, it seems to me that Ghana is the preferable destination to live in, because it's enjoyable if you have the money. So the problem is, how do I get the money to be able to live the life that I want to live in Ghana? And trust me, when I first came to the UK in 2014, if you see the supermarkets, how you can shop and all of that, I didn't know that those things were in Ghana till when I came back somewhere around 2016. I went to some parts of Accra in Osu, and I realized that, the kind of shopping we do, there are malls in Accra that you can literally do the same thing. I walk into the shop, pick out the stuff that I want to do, check out, and all of those things. So it was nothing new. It's just a matter of, do you have enough money to go to that place, or you go to the market where the food is on the ground to go and buy it? You get it? Yeah. And the truth of the matter is that nobody, if they had the right opportunity, like for instance, one of my arguments is that if the exchange rate was 1-to-1, dollar 1-to-1, pound 1-to-1, 90%, if not 99% of the people living abroad will be back in Ghana, because it is tough. The code is terrible. When the weather turns around and it is it is 6 a.m. No, not even 6 a.m. It's like 7 a.m. and it is dark. When we are having the shorter days, and it is very dark, and you're supposed to get up and go to the gym or go to work during those times before COVID. I mean, it's horrible. Who wants to be in such a situation? Or it is 3 p.m. and the sun is already down, and all of those kinds of hassles, and there's snow all over the place. It's not as interesting. But I think that because of the exchange rate and how much work we can do back home, it makes it comparatively easier for you to be able to do the things that you want to do in Ghana. So probably this would be my initial thoughts. There are several reasons. And then what I've seen on the flip side is that those in Kotu are less educated, or did not get the opportunity to work in Ghana and see the nicer part of Ghana. Because in corporate Ghana, you get to go to the hotels and enjoy all the freebies and all of those things. So when you come here, you're not as enthused, you see. Yeah. But you have not been in corporate Ghana, and then you come over. When you go to a function or a school function and they are sending you, giving you sandwich, I'm like, oh, I'm pretending you're buying a sandwich now. Come on. When I was in Ghana, where I was going for conferences, I was going for trainings and stuff, I was giving free food in that sense. Like, we're able to have some good standard of living, and despite our salary being terrible. If our salary was good, probably would not be interested in further education. So that's my perspective. I think that it's a matter of money and a matter of exchange rate, for at least for those who have experienced corporate Ghana, in my opinion, it's a matter of being able to be in a better position to quickly do the things that you would not have been able to do if you were working in the same position. For instance, if I were working as an engineer in Ghana, if I would be able to build in 10 years, it is more likely that if I'm working as an engineer overseas, I'll be able to build in a comparatively shorter time because of the exchange rate and the more money that you would get and all of that. So I see that point. With regards to someone saying that when you don't have money, the system supports you, I found it interesting because here it's very easy for you to become homeless. And the way we pay our rent to, it's not like the Ghana type. The Ghana type is tough, but it's not monthly. So that if in a month you don't get the money or something happens and you don't have the money, then you'll be in trouble. In Ghana, it's comparatively easy for you to go and leave your place of comfort, or like you don't have the money to pay your rent. You can go to your mom or your sister, let me come and patch with you for a bit. It's really tough to be able to do that there, to do that here. So that's how come when I was talking about the system will take care of you. I was like, is it the same? I guess we are looking at different things. Yeah, maybe when you're a citizen of the country, they provide some kinds of support for you, but there are also a lot of homeless people there, particularly people who have gone out of divorces. I know a lot of the homeless people here in the UK are even from the military. They went to war and all of that. They returned, came out of the military, and for one reason or the other, are going through tough times. So there's also that part, right? And in Ghana, it's very difficult for anybody who would have gone through some level of education or been able to work at a certain level to drop totally to become homeless. Of course, we have people who come from other parts of the country who travel to other parts of the country and become homeless in that sense, right? But unlike here where you can work and fall down and the system will eat you up and make you homeless and that kind of thing, it doesn't occur to me that that is something that easily happens in Ghana. And why, from this perspective, do you agree with me? Am I making sense, or I'm missing out? I'm missing out on something.
I understand what you're saying perfectly. From having a home to being homeless is very real. It can happen here, but like I said, they have some safety nets. That's, of course, it's not everybody that is able to fall on those safety nets. Like they have here, they have Section 8 buildings, so they have those buildings are cheaper. And based on your available income and all those things, you can pay as low as $100 a month for such buildings. And those are built for very low income people or poor people or stuff like that. But there are different reasons why people are homeless. Sometimes, like if ex-cons, if you've gone to prison and come back, it's very difficult to get a job because you have a record and those things. Some people are not able to, get because sometimes when they run it and they realize, oh, you have a record, they don't even allow you in certain places. They have shelters, homeless shelters, where the condition is not ideal, but it's not, you're not sleeping on the road, so they do have a lot of like things here to help, but you don't want to stay in that particular category for too long if you have ambition. It's just there to keep you okay for a while, and then you build up when you fall. But I agree, you can easily be homeless from having a house and everything, just based off of not be able to pay your mortgages or not affording rent, losing job, maybe falling sick, stuff like that. Those can easily happen.
All right.
But what is not too easy in Ghana just because of our social system. Here you go and live with a relative and maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, you're okay. But after 3 weeks, you go like, my friend, why are you living? It's just because of how the system is here. To feed a person, you need to spend a lot of money. Most people, some people have big houses. I know some Ghanaians who own huge houses. Sometimes you can, but most people are in apartments, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. They have a lot of family. So they may not have space to accommodate, especially if they don't want to. They don't have space to accommodate. Most people like their privacy sometimes, So they can accommodate you for a while, but if it becomes super long term, unless you are useful to them, maybe they are newly, like they are giving birth and you're helping with their baby. Hey, that's fine. That's why you're offering a service. then they don't mind. But if you're just there doing nothing, just taking up food and everything, I mean, at some point, they may grow wary of you, and you may have to make a move. So, but back home, everybody, your parents are there, your aunties and all that. Even though sometimes people can face, challenges staying with aunties and uncles sometimes, but I mean, here it's not that easy,
All right, let me introduce two new entrants. We have Roland Bruce and then maybe Sasantia Pia. So Roland, can you hear us? Actually, Roland is a little bit tight, so he can't show his face, but he will show his face later on. So Roland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good
you
evening.
Do. All right. So do introduction of yourself. Tell us who Roland Bruce is.
All right. Please apology for not being able to show my face because of where I am. I have to jump off the meeting and then join this. So sorry, I apologize for that. I am a publisher, a creative person, and also someone who also loves business. So that is Roland Bruce. Thank you.
All right. So Roland, let me go to Eben and then I'll come to you. Eben, the same thing, what we have been talking about. What's your take on that? I mean, from the Chinese perspective.
Well,
no. Maybe it's here. Eben, please hold on a little bit. Maybe it's went. So I thought, but maybe it's back. Maybe it's.
I'm Mavis, working and living in Ghana.
All right.